Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight is the first evening of the Zanders Inspirational podcast. I'm Charles Zanders, Upbeat Zanders. I've been doing GP TV for a little over a year and a half now, and so I'm going to adventure out here and do my own little podcast. This was something me and Greg Gene Jackson, Smokey the producer, we kind of brainstormed this up, and we thought who would have a better guest or who would be the better guest than the man, the myth, the legend, the Wicked Nemesis. Wicked Nemesis, how you doing tonight?
Well, I'm doing okay. We had a few technical difficulties right there at the beginning, but we're here.
Look, okay. First off, I'm already behind the 8 ball. Okay, so I'm a little peek behind the curtain because everybody loves that and everybody likes to enjoy my mistakes. I accidentally had a quick freak out and ended everything, and then came back and had to apologize to Wicked and invite him to 6 or 7 more. Without Smokey here, oh man, it's so rough without Smokey here. Poor Wicked's been watching me try to do this for a minute, and oof. So, but no, I'm here. I'm excited to do this stuff, man. I've got a slew of hopeful guests that I'm contacting, and Wicked Nemesis gets to be the first one. So, real quick, I'm just going to get a shout out to everybody, man. Thanks for listening today. I should go back and play that awesome music. That intro music was cool. So, but we've got Wicked Nemesis here tonight. Wicked, give us a very real quick introduction. Tell us about the early career of Wicked Nemesis. How did Wicked Nemesis come into play?
Well, I wanted to be the next Bobby the Brain Heenan, and of course, bad mindset right off the get-go. You need to be the first of something, not the next of something else.
That's right.
And I wanted to be the greatest manager that's been around, and I trained to wrestled, and been in the business for 16 years.
Who'd you train underneath?
Johnny Slaughter, David Taz, Brian Alexander, and Stupid.
And Stupid. Oof, that's a slew of them, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a who's who of Alabama's finest.
They beat the crap out of me.
Yeah, so. Yeah. I've wrestled poor Brian Alexander and Stupid. Stupid was toward the back end, and Brian Alexander is never toward the back end. That's one thing you can never say about Brian Alexander. He is never toward the back end, but that's neither here nor there. So you were trained by those guys. You had a friend that I really like. That's the guy because we've had you on the podcast before, and we've never Mako's kind of met this guy, and Gene's only met him once, but this dude is, and I've been trying to get him on the podcast, and I just can't do it. This dude is the epitome of intense, just absolute absolution, the Orion Bishop, man. So tell me you're an Orion Bishop's connection because it's close.
Well, we're half brothers.
Okay.
And we got into the business together. We grew up loving this business. We saw the Dudley Boys, and we thought we could be the next Dudley Boys. But I only wanted to be a manager, but still, the heat that Bubba Ray got and Devon got was immaculate. Of course, I like Kurt Angle. He was a Benoit fan, probably still is, even though his misdeeds.
Different, I was about to say, he's a different end of the spectrum.
But I was a huge fan of Rob Van Dam. Those guys that just ground, of course, Arn Anderson. Of course, nowadays it's cliche to be. I'm an Arn Anderson fan. Well, I always was. I grew up around wrestling. My mom and my real father actually met at a wrestling show. So it goes way back. But
and your mom, me and Wicked have been close friends for a while now. Everything I understand about your mother scares the crap out of me. Is that a fair statement to kind of throw out there?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
my mom is a feared individual.
Really,
she is by a lot of people. She loves you, of course, but
no, I mean, who doesn't? My mom's excited for the new change. If anybody's seen that video, and a lot of people at this point have, of my mother shocked by the fact that I had any kind of positivity in me, which is beyond me. I mean, let's just be honest. I've been this person for a long time. It's just the fact I've been trying to hide it for whatever reason. So
you are the most. I will say this: I have been through a lot the last 10 months. You are absolutely the most positive person I have ever met. I've known you since 2013.
Yeah.
In fact, everybody talks about the cult of Wicked, quote unquote. People that I've helped get out there become successful. Everybody knows you are the closest thing to a son I have in wrestling. Alex
Yeah.
will tell you that. They will tell you that. Bishop will tell you that. Aiden,
it's
Scott,
it's funny
Mako,
because like and we're gonna talk about this
Spiral,
stuff. Like we've
Micah.
got to man, we've got so much to cover. So you don't jump the gun on this one. We're still early in this podcast. So we're not gonna run through that just yet because like it was like that time, and we'll get to my career later on and how it kind of intertwines with yours. And we'll get there. We'll get there.
Kind
Slow
of.
down.
Kind of.
Kind of like just all the time. So, but we'll I want to talk about because like yours and Bishop's dynamics, like crazy because like and not many people get to see it because they either missed it in a time like where
Yeah.
you and Bishop weren't really doing much for a little while and then like but like and I got to see it up close. That stuff's crazy. Like you are 100% of a shot of like adrenaline to that dude.
Well,
Like
it's one of those things. We looked at. I guess Paul Heyman and Brock would be the closest resemblance to the dynamic we have. I'm literally going out there and saying what he can do and what he's
yeah.
going to do, and that's just how it is. And whenever Heyman and Brock come back together, I think their dynamic is exactly what Bishop and I had. He took 7 years off. I didn't. I put my
Yeah.
nose to the grindstone, but he is. And if you do not learn anything around Orion Bishop, you're missing out. You're not listening.
Oh, it's crazy. It's like, and he is, and you have to hard not to listen. I mean, you might not get the message because you're not at his level, but he's telling you. He will tell you, and he's very like matter of fact. But if you understand going into it, like, hey, he's trying to teach you something, you'll learn from him. You will. He's one of those individuals, but you have a different effect on him. Like you have the ability to kind of push him over that edge because like where he's really good, what he lacks is just like this rage of intensity. It's always been like my biggest knock with him is like he looks like he's kind of got it, and I've seen him like hard weigh himself 30 seconds into a match against Joey Lynch, and
Joey
like
Lynch, yeah.
and he'll do that. He'll commit that hard, and it makes you rub your head. But like then again, then he doesn't have it, and like I don't know what that dynamic was with y'all two, but he never doesn't have it whenever you're at least next to him. It's funny. It's super funny because like what is that? What do you do? Like is it just knowing him that long?
Yep, that's
Yeah.
exactly what it is. I watched him when we were 18 years old. He was like, "I'm going to move that car." I said, "No, you're not." He picked up this Saab. I mean, this is
Yeah.
I don't know if Saabs are even still around. Just picked up the
Yeah,
smooth.
look it up. Look it
I
up,
went,
podcast audience. Like, but
okay,
yeah.
well, I guess we're moving this car.
Uh,
He's one of those guys that if he's telling you something, he means it, but he goes about it a different way than I do. You know this. I'm very straightforward, or I used to be. Not anymore. Now I'm like, whatever.
You just very
But I
yeah.
was
We'll
very
talk about
straightforward.
later on. Yeah, we'll get to that. But yeah, no, you were, and he's not that guy. I mean, he's had instances, and I want to hear this story because like I think he's one of these interesting characters that aren't really talked about much, and people don't know about him even in my age bracket. If you don't like, and I'm talking about be really in depth with like the Southeast independent wrestlings because like he was the dude. It was him and like um man, I can't think of his name now. Seth Skyfire. Seth Skyfire was huge.
Oh yeah. Oh God.
And those guys rode around and like did the NWA stuff and like did some really good stuff around here and made a big
Well,
difference.
We had Corey Hollis.
Corey
with us.
Hollis too. I mean, and like that,
Mike
they were,
Posey.
yeah, they were learning underneath the tree of like those dudes of like Bishop, especially because
Will
like y'all,
Owens.
yeah,
We
yeah,
learned under Will Owens. I'll tell you
yeah,
right now, and that's what's missing out in wrestling is the fact of people not being able to ride together because everybody's coming from different situations. People get off at different times. We used to always meet up and then
yeah,
ride the rest of the way to Nashville. We're talking about every Thursday.
yeah,
That's whenever Barron's was running it. Taking those trips, you learn a lot if you will shut up and listen. But nowadays, you have five guys coming from one direction and five different cars.
yeah.
So
And it's just it's the way the kind of goes, the ability to expand. Like I know us at Cheap Heat, we actually have a full on meeting to kind of understand what's going on, and you have to like it doesn't matter. Like it used to be those car rides, and we don't have as long of those car rides because it used to be hours of just like either listening to music or like just kind of talking stuff out and watching stuff and just kind of enjoying each other and like the camaraderie and of like traveling and yeah. But I know Bishop 100% taught so many people more than most people. I mean, he's talented dude, and then he just kind of okay. So he did the ROH thing, right? I want
Yeah.
to hear this ROH story real quick.
He went to ROH, and a couple of people did not like what a
Say
certain.
names. It's okay. I mean, dude, like, we got a couple of
Well,
fans, but
well,
like,
it's not
say some
my story.
names.
It's really not my story to tell,
I
but he went in
know.
there and somebody got mad at him because he kicked out of a finish that he was told to.
Yeah.
And when you look at Orion Bishop when he's built like a polar bear, I mean, you're not.
He's big. Like
If
people
he,
don't like.
everybody's not, you know how everybody in wrestling likes to be compared to a superhero or a supervillain, and I do that
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well. Like Murder One is, of course, like always a synonymous of Doctor Doom,
I
even
don't know
though I've always been heels.
superheroes.
Always, well,
Cannot be
anyways, look
Sub-Zero.
behind me at the
Oh
Captain America.
yeah, okay, fair enough.
That's
Yeah,
somebody.
you're gonna lose me on that battle. I look more to inspiration than I do Pokemon. And
Orion Bishop
okay,
is the Incredible Hulk. He
yeah, I
is
was
the
gonna say he is. It's
that
crazy.
version of the Incredible Hulk, hands down. He can turn it on with a switch, and when he does, like it's one of those things like
Not
belts
a good
might get
laugh on my
smashed.
portion, but yeah, it's rough. I've seen him, and normally
I
he's
watch him
more upset at
smash a
himself.
belt. I watch him step on a belt in
Yeah,
front of me, be like, oh.
yeah, and like, and I've seen him at other shows, and he doesn't have like he doesn't have that kind of intensity for sure. Is like I've seen him wrestle at some Tennessee or some Georgia shows, Peach State, and he didn't have that same kind of intensity. So,
Well, a
but
lot of people, it's one of those things like I come with
yeah,
baggage, even
yeah,
today, and Bishop Bishop was always told he didn't travel enough,
yeah.
and
That's
he doesn't
always
have.
been his. Yeah, I mean, it's tough. We've when like take it from us, traveling doesn't mean like traveling and good footage doesn't mean that people are gonna like notice your talents. Like you do
No,
have to like you do kind of have to catch a break. Like I've always like if you're doing this to try to get rich, man, you're making a mistake. Like real bad. Like you'll get to enjoy your life, but you're not going to make $1 million. You're going to have a lot more fun than I have friends all the time that just kind of like they don't. Whenever I tell them about the stories and stuff like about you and some other people in my life, they're just like, "Good Lord!" Like Mako says it all the time. He's like, "How do we know these people? They're just so all over the place." And it is. And so I mean, like Bishop's one of those guys. He's one of those guys you don't understand him until you meet him, and then after you meet him, you don't understand if he's like real or if he's ribbing you or whatever it is. Like it's so he is off the spectrum, like Orion Bishop. Like,
at PCW in 2010.
yes,
Danny Only, let's see, Andrew Pendleton III, and Strickland and I all went to PCW, and they had their big show. I forgot what the name of it was, but very big show. Samoa Joe was there.
yeah,
I went into the wrong locker room, not knowing that I was. These are all Ring of Honor guys and
yeah.
TNA guys. I didn't know. I just went in there and started changing. And Samoa Joe came up to me. He's like, "How's it going, man?" I was like, "Hey, how you doing, sir?" Trying to be dismissive. And I looked around. I was like, "I am in the wrong locker room." Well, now I can't get up and leave. I can't get up. My pride's too strong.
Yeah,
I can't.
yeah.
Walk. He's the only human being I have ever been intimidated by, Samoa Joe, and that is exactly the way that people feel around Orion Bishop. I'm sure.
He is, and like in like early stages, and I know like I'm because I met Bishop whenever he was just starting back. Like he was not that like intimidation factor, and he was even like go look up Orion Bishop on YouTube and find some earlier stuff. He was a tank. He was a
He was
tank.
cutting people, dude.
Yeah,
The Emerald Fusion, a lot of people use that for the finish. He was
yeah,
using that. We
yeah.
use it.
I know. I know.
His favorite wrestler, Bam Bam
Yeah.
Bigelow, and
No,
that's the
dude, the
thing. Is like
biggest, the Dudley boys, by the way, the biggest dudes I've ever met. Like the most intimidating dudes. Like cower in the corner when I met those dudes. I was like, all right, I don't want to be like, I don't want to pass sideways next to these dudes. I'm not passing anything. I'm going to look right here at the television and wait for the show to start. Please do not just absolutely stab me. Yes, it's going perfectly. Thank you.
yes, sir. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks. Everything's going great. I appreciate it. So, oh man. So yeah, Bishop's definitely one of those dudes. So, but you bring kind of like you bring out some stuff in people that kind of not many other people can get brought out of them. And the next guy I kind of want to like speak on is someone I've tried to get a rise out of but couldn't. and boy, did you a certain imitator but never duplicated Paul Lee. So I know you cover your face, and another pull back the curtain. He also didn't want to talk about this one, but here on the Zanders Inspirational podcast, we're going to talk about people who are not so inspirational, and kind of maybe we'll get an image for that for people who are not inspirational, and how blind justice has came in there and smacked them with a weight or something. So you got any stories about Paul Lee?
To the day I die, and who knows when that'll be, I will forever be synonymous with beating the hell out of Paulie. I had no idea who he was. Mad Dog Dan Sawyer brought him in. He kind of ran down the entire locker room on Facebook. And, one thing is, I'm not a big fan of progressing angles through social media, even though, it can be helpful. That's not what he was doing. And Trevor Eon Doom, as I call him, he'll always be doomed to me. Trevor and
Really?
I were sitting.
I mean, another guy that like you've had a lot in the like
I love Doom.
yeah
Doom,
yeah
Doom goes.
yeah. We'll talk about him in a minute, but let's keep going down this path. So
He
Trevor
looks at me. He
Aon.
was like, he says, "Wicked man." He said, "Oh, my battery's running low." He said,
Oh.
"Man, either that guy is racist, or he really doesn't like one of us." And I squinted because I didn't have my glasses. Like, "Oh, that's Paul Lee." I said, I'll see you. I'll see you. We're at a charity show, and he was wanting to fight, and
so
he said,
y'all
"My
fought
was
though,
running
didn't you?
chicks." Oh yeah, I beat his ass. I like a dumbass. I took off my jacket. We went inside away because I was signing autographs. And he said, "Your ass." He said, "Your mouth is writing. Check your ass, can't cash." I said, "Hey man, I want to fight in front of anybody. Let's go outside, or let's go inside." We walked into a part of, it was like a closed down part of the bar, and like a dumbass took my glasses off, took my jacket off, crossed my arms, and he punched me. I guess he thought I was going to go down. I popped him, grabbed him in the front face lock. We went through a table. Everybody come out. He started taking my necklace that I had and started trying to twist it. I tried to bite his nose because I was going to bite his nose off. And then whenever he let go of me, I popped him 3 times. He busted open, and then not Bull Buchanan, but Leon the Bull Stresser said, "Hey, stop it, or they'll make me be a cop." And I was like, "I'm
I
done."
was about to say he's a cop. He's a cop for context of people who don't know. Leon the Bull Stresser, with his great run of a company we'll talk about later on, was a
But
cop, and
he was pulling my hair and trying to twist it. One of my
yeah.
That's how he wanted to fight. I guess I scared him whenever I didn't go down after the punch. That was it. But I beat his ass, and then he went on some shoot interview and started saying that he'd gigged the night before and that I was, certain
Hey,
languages. Okay,
look,
I
man.
told myself, let's do it again, and nothing. Next
Yeah.
time I saw him, he avoided me. We were at MCW Monstrosity Championship Wrestling in Atlanta. That was that.
Boy, I don't. That's a rivalry I do not want to see happen again. That is that we are ZIP. We are airing our grievances. That was the whole purpose of that story. So bygones be bygones, and let's all be gone with this nonsense. So
He is the only person I still hate. I've put all the hate out of my life. I still hate Paul Lee to the day I die. It'll be.
no, no, you don't. Positivity. This is the positivity. Okay,
I'll be
he's
positive outside of him. That's it.
we can't have people that we're not positive outside of. Okay, Wicked. Listen to me. Get off your phone.
Sorry, I have to get the charger. So
Okay. Yeah, you're good. No, you're doing. I appreciate it. I don't feel bad, but I do feel bad because I kind of walked into that one and knowing the outcome, and still got the exact outcome that I thought it would be.
I mean, I don't understand why you would run down a locker room, and I was just trying to be the locker room leader. And I've been several fights backstage. I don't believe in much, but what I believe in, I will fight for. I think that's
Okay,
another.
so give us another fight story, because like that's a thing like that doesn't happen anymore. Like it doesn't. Like and let's push it back. Let's push early stages pre like promotions that exist or something. Like, let's try to keep it in that.
Oh well, Amos Moses, of course, like he decided that he was going to try to ruin one of my promos in Palmerdale, and I told Mad Dog Dan Sawyer, I said, if he doesn't apologize as soon as he comes through that door, I'm going to bust his face open. And you know what? He said, "Wicked, what the?" And I was on him, and they had my hands pulled back, and Joshua Hagan let go of my left, and I threw that left and caught him right in the nose. And to this day, he'll tell everybody it changed his life. He has a scar right up under his eye where I busted him open, and he just started gushing. And I was on him. I'm like a shark. I see blood. I'm in it.
So like you're about what 6'2", 6'3", also
Yeah.
like
Yes.
you're
Yeah.
a long dude. You're not somebody like
I'm 6'3", 215, and I'm 7 pounds overweight.
hell yeah.
That's what
So
I'm talking.
you've got your medical at least, but you're lanky as hell. Like if anybody sees you, like sure everybody says, "Oh, he's too tall." Gene gets that all the time too. It's like, "Oh, he's too tall to be a manager." Like, no, he's not. I promise. He can put me over, and he just doesn't want to whoop anybody's ass. Like that's the one cuss word you're gonna get out of me this evening. But that's pretty much you and Gene Jackson both are pretty much two of those guys that are like, "Hey, look, no, the only reason they're talking is because they can't." Like if they could,
Yeah.
they would. But yeah,
I just feel that I love wrestling. And as you know, dude, how many times were we on the phone for years, 3 and 4 hours, calling back and forth, trying to make sure, trying to get. I always felt like I was a middleman. Like I would
mhm.
try to bring in all these people that really, didn't get along, different promotions, didn't want their top guys coming in. I'd be on the phone, and I would just be on the phone for hours and hours and hours and hours. But you know what? We'd put on great product. All of us made money. There were some really good matches that went on during that time. So
And we're gonna talk about them probably just after the commercial break, which is actually coming up a lot sooner than what I thought it would be. But like you did, and like if we're gonna discuss a little bit more of this, of like you had to be the middle manager for a lot of years for people who didn't want to deal with some of these people that are really really difficult to deal with, and that's putting it like as politely as I can because and oh no, oh no, oh we lost poor Wicked Nemesis. Oh man, his poor computer died and he couldn't get it in time. Maybe he'll be able to get on his phone. I'm gonna keep recording. We'll cut this out. No. All right. So let's leave a timestamp. We'll go to commercial. I'll go to commercial after this, but 22-minute mark. Did you find a charger?
yeah,
Okay. So let's do this then. And we'll say nope. All right. So we will. If I do this, this doesn't kick you out. Okay. We'll do this real quick. Give me just a second. And we are recording. Start back at where is it at? 24 35. Okay. Hang on, we'll start back at 25. Okay. Hey, here we are. We're back. We had a quick technical issue, and Wicked Nemesis is back with us. You know how those technical issues happen at the point where you see Wicked have a minor meltdown, and but it happens, man. Technology's a bomb. It's real not fun sometimes. But let's see. So where were we? We were talking about. Oh, okay. So we were talking about kind of your influences on wrestling and how we were actually about to go to commercial break after you telling us stories about you beating the crap out of people who didn't seem to respect your passion. And you've had a lot more stories like that where it was just like, okay, he's probably had more conversations in the back where he was just like pulled somebody's coattail. It was like, all right, you need to come here in just a second. Let me have a quick conversation. How many like confrontations do you think you've had with a promoter, a wrestler, something like that?
do you want honest, or do you want?
I want honest. Like I do. I
Oh,
like.
dude,
I'm okay with like. Yeah, I don't want you to not be honest here.
over 200.
Yeah, I
Well
kind of
over
figured
200.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
way up there.
yeah. It's crazy. It's like, and that was a time where you could kind of like that conversation happened a lot more. There was a lot more of that conversation because you couldn't have a resolution within the weeks of in between, because like even with social media, direct messaging was not huge, and even then definitely not everybody used it. So
But I
I'm
have
sure
also
that
been
was
the boss and had people confront me as well, which I understand. I've
I
had
mean,
people come mad at me, like, "What the is going on here?"
yeah.
Like,
And
calm down.
that's part of like people being passionate. I mean, that is something that's definitely what you are, and you bring out of people. Like you definitely bring passion out of people. There's no doubt like with that. It's always been one of those things that have like when people see you, they don't really think like, oh, that's going to be a guy that's unbelievably passionate, but you definitely are.
I mean, you have to have passion for anything that you love, and you have to have passion for something that you pour your heart and soul into, and bodies. Of course, I mean, I have no ACLs, left shoulder's messed up. Look at my head. I mean, you see all
Yeah,
these scars, but I've always been passionate about my kids and wrestling,
yeah,
even to a fault.
yeah. And your kids, and I mean, like your family. If nobody's met Wicked personally, then it's first off, it's sad because you're a great dude, and like you are a great dude. That just kind of like you are very, very realistic. And second off, is like the moment you know him, you know his kids because his kids are like 100% little Wicked Nemesis.
All three of them. I've got one getting ready to go to college, and
How
earlier
about that?
today I was helping him out with his financial aid. It's crazy.
Is that
He's
one of the
going.
things,
He's
like,
going. He's going to the same college I did, doing the same major I did, but going a different direction.
okay.
So I'm very happy for that. He was supposed to go to Alabama, University of Alabama, for engineering. It was just too expensive. He graduated, and of course, lockdown happened, and he didn't even get to walk his graduation. So it was a big thing. Graduated 2020, so we let him have a year off, and now he's getting ready to go to Jacksonville State University. He's going to communications, which was my major.
Cool.
I minored in history. He's going to minor in history as well, I'm sure.
Awesome.
But he's going. I went radio. He's going TV. He wants to do sports broadcasting.
And that's awesome. Like, and he's got the potential for it. Like, he's very smart kid. Like, and I know he knows sports. Like, he's not big into wrestling. It doesn't seem like, especially kind of that you've fallen out of it even more so. But like, he's big into sports. Like Xavier, man. First off, congratulations from GP TV, man. I know you're a fan of like everybody, man. Like, congratulations, man. Sorry about not getting your graduation. That kind of sucked, man. I didn't want to be at my graduation. So what am I gonna say about it? But anyways, so we're gonna go to commercial, Wicked. But when we come back after this commercial, hey, we're gonna have a commercial. I've got to get Smokey said advertisement. So
I got
on the
you.
backside of this commercial, we're gonna get a little bit deeper and closer with present day stuff. We've been really far, and I've been pushing this off because because the deeper you get in your career, a lot more controversy happens.
And I do want to say this really quick before we go to commercial. And I'm sorry, my youngest Lily actually wants to get into wrestling. Marilyn wants to be a director, wants to be a writer. Lily wants to be either at Saturday Night Live or be in wrestling. So
go Saturday Night Living, please.
That's what I told her too. I was like, yes. I was like, go.
Please go. Acting is sadly acting has more money than this, which is awful. All right, so on the backside, we're going to talk to Wicked Nemesis. We'll be right back, ladies and gentlemen.
Are you looking to have a good time? Well, head on down to Happy Hour Comedy Club and Restaurant in Anniston, Alabama. Shoot you some pool, play you some darts, or head on over to the bar and get you a cold beer or one of them fancy cocktail drinks. They got all that. You hungry? We'll get you one of the best pizzas in Anniston or anything else off the menu. They got burgers, tacos, chicken wings, anything you want. Every Thursday night, they got open mic comedy and karaoke, and live comedy every Friday and Saturday night with some of the top comedians from across the United States. Go to happyhourcomedyclub.com for more information and tell them Whitey Jenkins sent you.
Hey guys, this is Wolfie D from PG-13. Check out my podcast, Live and in Color with Wolfie D, every Monday at noon. We're talking Memphis, we're talking ECW, WCW, WWF, everywhere that I've been. We even have some great guests, some Hall of Famers on the show with us. Every Monday at noon, Live and in Color with Wolfie D.
You like barbecue? Well, of course you do, unless you're some kind of weirdo or wasn't raised right. So if you want to get some of the best barbecue around, check out P3 Barbecue. Our buddy David Estes does it up right, and he'll be glad to cater to your next event or just send you some of his award-winning sauce right there to your own doorstep. Go over and check them out on the Facebooks at facebook.com/P3Barbecue or give old David a call at 901-679-3452 and tell him Whitey Jenkins sent you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, the podcast that's based on the old school, but can still help you find the good stuff from today. Dangerous Dan Colley, the Professor Jimmy Street, and the Plastic Sheik Jared are the undisputed six-man tag team champions of the wrestling podcast world. From thought-provoking topics to superstar interviews to action figure expertise, this trio does it all. And all they ask is, give me back my pro wrestling! Every other Thursday, wherever you listen to podcasts.
All right, so I'm a little upset. I get emotional over that on the backside of that. The Whitey Jenkins, just the Whitey Jenkins music makes me sad because I did one episode with him and Smokey literally shut down the podcast. Like I did one episode, mine and Whitey Jenkins dynamic was so bad that like even my positivity couldn't keep that podcast afloat. It was really sad. If y'all don't mind, please just if you're listening to this, just go listen to the Quick Sympathy podcast of me and Whitey Jenkins stumbling through it. About 40 minutes. It's really rough. It's we play fun games like does Zanders know this wrestler? I do not. I don't know any wrestlers. It's really sad. My career is pretty much a sham. But either way, we're back. After that long intro back in, the only way Zanders knows how, we're back here with the Wicked Nemesis. Wicked Nemesis, welcome back. Appreciate you coming back with us. I was nervous you weren't just going to hang up on me, but it's been a long one, but it's been worth it. I enjoyed the first half. What about you?
Yeah, it was great. I'm sorry that the computer died, but we're back. So,
well, I mean, they're not going to see that. We are going to edit that out, ladies and gentlemen. Smokey is going to have to help me because, like, I can't even figure out it in the broadcast well. But Smokey's going to help us edit that down. I've already communicated with him. I got markers. You're good, Wicked. I promise.
Well, I know that you are friends with whoever is doing the OWF. I believe it's Whitey, but I'm not sure. Yeah. That is amazing work. Amazing. That made me laugh so much. Everybody go check that out. Outlaw Wrestling Federation.
I mean, I watched it. Yeah, if you're not subscribed to our YouTube or anything like that, if you're listening to this show and not subscribed to our YouTube, then what are you doing? Because like it's super easy. This is going to be on your YouTube. Like lock this page, lock everything we do. If you think because this is a pilot episode and I've got the professional Wicked Nemesis who's done multiple podcasts here to kind of shut me down. Maybe I needed to find him the mute button on here, but I've got him to kind of help me get through this, really slow ascent to the top of podcasting. But anyway, so
well, you were one of our guests. You were, I think, you and Tasha are our number one and number two guests that had the most appearances on To Be Determined, the To Be Determined show, and then TBD and all its incarnations, and Shoot Finish back when it was called Shoot Finish as well.
And you can go find those podcasts. I believe you can go find all those.
Yeah, archive.org. Yeah, there's some of them on YouTube.
I mean, it's not organized. Like my appearances were completely on the whim, and there was no conversation that it was directed to. Like I was not directing. That was 100% just the last of a shooting star. The very end of it, just the last gasp of it is the only. The only thing they could do is get poor Zanders all that thing to blindly talk and try to get shut up by Eddie. But we're going to have a direction, okay? So on the backside of this, I said we're going to talk a little bit more about some stuff that's happened more recent, not really stuff that, like, I was kind of part of it, but, like, not really kind of part of it at the beginning of it. The second half of it, man, we've went round and round and all over the place on both sides. And first, and I'm going to throw you a curveball, I want to talk about ZAW.
Oh
because
yeah.
that's yeah, yeah. That's kind of my. That's what I kind of figured you were going to say. All that was ZAW was something that was like if you look at the cards were good. Like it was
It was
just
a
like
who's who of Southeast. Like we had everybody that has went out there and established themselves over the last 4 years outside of maybe a few people which we know.
yeah,
Like we had everybody there. It was just I was not going to be financially in it, and all of a sudden I was financially in it, and then
yeah,
I had no money.
yeah.
And when I
And it
stopped
was
giving
like
money, apparently everybody's like, we're done.
yeah, and it was a lot of like there was so many timing issues with it that kind of sucked, and I could like it was one of those things also where everything was kind of like not only just financially but like period wise kind of thrown into your lap, and take it from
Yep.
someone who's already felt at that without running two shows was incredibly difficult. But I mean,
Oh,
like, yeah, I mean, the venue was a good idea, but then again, the venue was like not made for wrestling, and so like it was a very like woof kind of up of the thing, and
I heard Three Doors Down killed it out there though. So
oh man, oh not my venue. I was talking about the damn ZAW. That poor ZAW
oh
venue
god,
was a yeah that
that
thing. I
was
felt like
not
I
my
was.
call. I saw that and I went, nope, this is not the place.
I thought
And we
I
still
thought
ran
I was
it.
going to prom. I thought we were going to prom whenever I came down that thing. It was man, it was so
Well, we had
because
a good
like
run. It was from November of 2018 until May of 2019. Or excuse me, 20.
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, that is not true. It was November of 2019 until May of 2020, and then it was done.
Okay,
And we're
well,
done.
yeah, but I also don't have here at ZIP we don't worry about time frames and dates. That's beyond reason. Why would we worry about the dating and time frame and how long
We
and
tried.
whatever? Yeah, hey,
We tried. We went out. We
and the
went out.
thing
Hey,
is,
the
y'all
footage is out there.
yeah, hey, it's out there, and like it was, we were all like, we needed an adult. Like to be honest, we needed an adult. Like we needed that like not even locker room leader because we didn't need a leader. Like that was
Mm-mm.
easily you would have been doing that fine, but we needed somebody that could like be that upper guy that you wouldn't go talk to, but still give you the answer no even after asking them. That's what was
Yeah.
very tough about ZAW is because it was like an inmates run the asylum and having a couple of the inmates try to like try to help you, and it's tough, man. It's real tough to run a show. Applauding all the people that do it, man. Congratulations, but shit, like
We had fun.
hey, we did. We had so much fun, man. We were as hard as we could through it. That's for sure. I mean, I watched poor Drew and Scott kill it. Well, Aiden and Scott. I'm sorry, Aiden and Scott kill each other. It was woof. Yeah, I know he's not. He's not.
That was
gonna
a
do
hell of a
shit.
match too. That was a
It
hell of a
was.
match.
Oh my gosh, dude. They murdered each other. And if that venue would have been different, like I truly believe that, like even at an outdoor venue, like some of the atrocities that we went through, like with the Harley Davidson snow blizzard debacle, like all of that stuff with ZAW is just almost a podcast on its own because it was just like everything was like, okay, yeah, like this is a decent money grab, but just a horrific game planning. Like just like, oh man, we got
Who would have
there.
thought in April it was going to snow in Alabama? It was insane. And
And
when
by
we
the
mean
way,
snow, we're talking about ice and snow where it wasn't even sticking.
30 degrees.
We
Yeah,
had
like it. Yeah, it
7
was
matches.
ice. Terrifying. It was terrifying driving back. I hated it. And luckily I had people to hang out with. But that was one of those shows that took forever. Like it was just one of those things that like ZAW is nothing more than just a lot of standing around and like hating.
Xander,
shit.
look, hold on. Xander said, "I'm not bumping tonight." We're
Oh,
backstage.
that was
his
early
jacket
on.
had his head in his pocket. Oh my goodness.
That was
makes me
upbeat.
cry.
Oh man. And what did I not? I think I did. By the way, I got dang.
Yes, we both bumped.
Alistair
Because you're like,
Crowe.
if I'm a bump,
Yeah.
and as soon as you bumped, I was like, I've got a bump now.
Hey, but I also wore a full sports coat, a full jacket, sports jacket, like
Yes.
athletic jacket, and also that thing's out there on YouTube somewhere. If I could ever find
Yeah.
it, I'll put it up on our Cheap Heat TV. It's on our website. Gene gets so mad at me about plugs. I'm plugging, Gene. I'm plugging. Is that shooter enough? Is that what we should? Since we're shooting now, everybody's just shooting off at the hips for whatever reason. Like if is that enough, Gene? Please give me the thumbs up in the back. Okay, he's giving me the thumbs up. Perfect. So anyway, so we'll transition off of ZAW. That was a sore kind of. We really didn't try, but kind of tried and. We tried but didn't try. Man, it was a tough time. We were all kind of shooting stars at that point, right? Well, let's talk about GCW then, because that was successful. That was at least kind of successful. Like you've mentioned some fighting that you've done within that show, but like whenever it got toward Pale City, it got popular. Like, and
Oh yeah,
like,
we're talking
like
about 319, 359. We were on TV also, so a lot of people would show
yeah,
up just to be on TV.
and it was like the original on TV YouTube kind of thing. Like especially whenever TJ took over and started producing that content that was so easily accessed. Like 2 weeks.
Well, no, hold on. Cheap Heat
Okay,
TV has some of Wrestle Birmingham was
they
doing
do.
it at a different time slot. GCW had a better time slot and a little bit better quality thanks to Eddie Lane. But
Hmm.
those guys kind of worked that same thing. You had Wrestle Birmingham and you had GCW, and then in 2008 or 2009 it flipped, and
Okay,
then that's whenever GCW just ran away.
just yeah.
Which I'm sure Gene will be able to talk more about that because he was actually part of Wrestle Birmingham, I believe.
I would love to have that conversation because I don't know that 2008 because I started the business like 2011. I want to say 2011,
January
2012.
2006 for me and Bishop. So
Yeah. So I mean, like, and man, it happened. I had like my nine years or whatever, and I put it up on Facebook. Congratulations, everybody who knows or something. Nobody knows my birthday, and nobody will ever know my birthday. I think Wicked might know my birthday, but
yes, I
kayfabe,
do.
brother, hang on. Let's do the old. If anybody doesn't see this, if they're not doing, you don't see that. If you're listening to it audio wise, shame on you. Watch the YouTube and like and subscribe while you're there, so that way you can see great stuff like this to see that we're doing the old shimmy. So GCW though, like, because once again, I remember it like big heyday is whenever I first started, because that was the place you went to. Like some guys like Jeremy Foster and Cody Ward came from there to my humble beginnings in Mickey Henry land, and like they came there and put it over like crazy, and then beat the crap out of us and superstarred us, and then left again. And so like even going to other places, GCW was kind of like, hey, look, that's actually a kind of good little rub. Like I remember the first time like being there and insulting you whenever I first met you, and like insulting pretty much everybody in the locker room, and still having an okay match because you'll always vouch for me for that. I can have okay matches. Might not be the best in the back, but I have okay matches. Like I remember that time
You
being.
went out there, man. That match with AJ, where you went out there and your leg was just screwed. You're like, I'm still gonna have this match. AJ still looked at me. He was like, Wicked, I don't know, man. He's like, this little white boy, I don't think he can get it done. I was like, well, let's see what he can do. And he's like, okay. He's like, do you trust him? I was like, I have no idea who the hell he is. And he's like, well, let's see what this. And you went out there and we both come breaking through the curtain. Get him
Yeah.
over here now all the time. Get him away from Mickey. And AJ was like, man, you just sold for it and you couldn't even tell you were hurt. So that was on you. And AJ
he
and I
back chopped me. He back
both
chopped me.
yeah.
And that's one joker that if I could ever get him, but that's another guy I'd like to get on the podcast because he's kind of a dude that's coming back around, but not really like nobody knows his story. Nobody knows, and that's a crazy story. That dude, like, I respect him, and that's because he was unbelievably helpful in that match, and like everybody was and supportive. But like that dude could work his tail off. Like it's crazy. And I mean, like Peach State people know that. Like he was huge at Peach State. AJ was a beast, and he back chopped me, and I'll never forgive him for that. But he did take care of me. So,
but
you
Mad
had
Dog kind of
guys.
ran GCW. But you're talking about Steven Styles, Pandora, and I, because I worked at GCW very briefly, and that was Bishop's last stop before he retired for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I guess Mad Dog told me later on that it was because he thought I was arrogant as heck, and I wasn't showing up to set up the ring, which I didn't know because at that time I was making money elsewhere. I was just like, oh, Bishop's here, Johnny Swinger's here, Will Owens is here. I'll come over here and hang out. If they want to use me, they can use me. And then Pandora and I started going there, and then next thing you know, I had Braddock, I had Chris Knox and Damon, Braddock and Steven Styles. Then it was Josh and AJ and Spiral and Braddock and I. Then we had Logan, Brooklyn.
Y'all did have
Josh and I as the Heathens.
Max Kruger, or Mad Kruger, whatever his worker name is now. I don't. But yeah, no, you've had
GCW.
Well,
GCW was the place I could go and actually like look around because Mad Dog let me. Mad Dog, when I saw something in somebody, he would let me immediately do something with them. Okay, we'll make us some money. As it was with you, Josh and I saw you, and
Hey,
AJ.
you
AJ was
started
moving
that.
on to do other
Like
things.
Logan was doing that. Logan Creed was doing that big whatever crazy, but you like really encouraged him to be himself and really get out there and be the blue Power Ranger that he was like before he became the super villain or whatever he's playing right now. So I mean, like you've clearly helped a lot of people with it, and I mean, like you've always it's not just like and a lot of on screen stuff, but I mean a lot of it's been off screen like stuff like I realize you'll never get the respect like, and I'm sure everybody's gonna say yeah we respect him, but like you're never gonna get the true understanding. Like I know you want to be in all the Hall of Fames and have to go make those stupid speeches, but like it is what it is. I mean like it's you're who you are is very abrupt and very in your face and it's very tough to deal with, especially like, and I'm not being hateful, I hope this doesn't come off as hateful, but like it's very tough for people to kind of see who you are and what you're trying to help, and it seems over like not overbearing, but you know what I mean, like you understand who
Yeah,
you are, right? Like I mean,
yeah, it's very
and
upfront.
yeah, and I mean that's kind of where me and your similarities really are, because sometimes my kind of awkward abruptness is kind of overbearing, if some people would say, but it's we do differentiate in a lot of things, and like I'm a lot more open about like showing like my emotions, like whenever something just really kind of hits me, I'm not afraid to like do like I'm not afraid to show my emotions. I'm not afraid to be upset. I've cried. Like I know you have too. Like you've seen me cry and like you just come in there and be up like whenever who was it? Whenever Wesley died, and it was just like a rush of emotion. And like you came up crying because I was bawling my eyes out, just overwhelmed with it. And you said, "Why are you crying?" And I told you, and you go, "Oh God!" Like
Yeah, because
you're
I had no
very
idea. I had
yeah.
absolutely no idea.
It's very your empathy is kind of like it's respectful and like very comforting at the same time. But man, you've been through a lot, and it's just kind of we've talked about it a lot, and it's kind of weighed on me a lot. And like I do want to have this whole conversation with you because like you were there for me in a lot of really difficult times when Mike passed away. You were very helpful for me, like backstage, and that was tough. That was not fun. Like when even as my grandmother passed away. This when was it? I guess a year ago. Like you were very like we've had that conversation. It's been a year. I mean, it's been over a year
It
now.
was yeah. Oh yeah, definitely over a year. Yeah, I'd
I mean,
say so.
it was probably I think April. It's kind of hard because it's been like, and you know what I'm saying when I say this, like this past, and I think most people agree with this. This past 2 years have been like the slowest race ever. Like we've been running a million miles an hour, but it feels like we're in quicksand. And you got to experience that kind of uphanded like first-handed whenever let's just get to the elephant in the room, man. Like you and poor Angie, man, like that was a rough time for you, and like it wasn't just a rough time for you, it was a rough time for a lot of us and our family and like your family and like her family. And I just kind of like explain to us how that kind of what that kind of did to you, because you've talked about it, like you've been kind of like you go on these shows and you're not very like whatever, you're not very upfront about it, but it is something that like majorly changed who you were. And it like to the point now where like where you used to fight to be on a lot of these shows that we were on and drive all these miles, you're not, you're almost out. Like you are, like I'm happy you're doing your happiness, but like I'm glad you're being with your kids, but you are out of the business now. What, I mean, was it Angie? Let's talk about this because I'm here for it.
Yep. Yep,
It
that's
was.
exactly what it was. Everything happened at VCW, which we won't get into, and then Angie dying was it. That was the straw that broke my back. I'd been
Yeah.
through suffered a lot of losses in my life, but to lose her was just something. As you
Yeah.
know, like I didn't cry. I cried when my kids were born, and I had not cried in 20 plus years,
Yeah.
and now I cry almost every day.
Yeah.
It could be the
I
wrong song,
remember.
like,
Yeah, I remember that day. Like I was at work, and you called me, and I was like, it's. I'll get a couple of phone calls from you every now and again, like whenever you're about to go in your shift or whatever, just kind of see what's up. And you're like, you called me, and it was just like Angie's gone. Angie's passed away. It's like, wait, what? And this was only a couple of weeks after my grandmother passed. That's kind
yep.
of how I know that it hadn't been like. And I was like, really? And like something
It was
else,
it
like
was long. it was long enough to know that she knew that your grandmother had passed away because
Yeah,
we cried over, like we did
yeah.
cry. She boohooed
And
over
she
because
was,
you're our baby. You
yeah,
know that.
yeah. And she was like, she was very like influential to a lot of your like passions and happiness because like she encouraged that. She was a very encouraging person, and I know that like I hate that destroyed you because your passion is what made like a lot of people like I don't even want to say money because this isn't about money to me. This is not like everybody always tells me like oh this is the money oh I may put asses in seats as you always say, and I don't like cussing but you do say that, and that's not what it's about to me. This is about like memories and stuff like that, and I'm sure that's where my positivity and upbeatness comes from. But like I hate it, and I mean I'll do this on live, and we're gonna probably be pretty close to running over, but I do hate that you decided to like let that be a thing that kind of deterred you and not try to find happiness within that. And I get it, man. It's tough, and
I, I'm not happy. I'm content. I'm
yeah,
literally living for each day with my kids. Like my life pretty much ended that day,
yeah,
or my life as I knew it. And no,
yeah,
that woman changed my entire life. You know this,
yeah,
and it just why go out there? I've done a few things here and there, especially like Russell South, but
yeah.
uh,
Every
I
time, man,
told
it doesn't seem like the same. It doesn't seem like the
uh,
same. Like
I
for
was on
every time I
Christopher
talk to you
Dyer and
about it.
Flynn's podcast, and I told him the same thing. Like, there's not a day goes by, like I just there's nothing.
Yeah,
It's just let's just get through and make sure that I'm here for my kids. And like I talked to you and Bishop and Christopher Dyer and Flynn more than I do anybody else in the business anymore. Talk to my
yeah,
kids. It's weird not being able to call and tell a stupid 9/11 joke to Angie. Norm McDonald
yeah,
was our guy. It was weird that Norm passed away right after she passed away. As everybody
yeah.
knows, she loves Norm, and yeah,
Hey, and
it's
that was
just
the thing.
everything.
Like Angie was such a like. She wasn't like any one type of person. You couldn't put her inside of a box. Like you couldn't fit her. Like her personality always went outside of that box, and she was like very animated. I can remember times where she acted better than most of the workers. Like her presence was always a like there was times, and everybody's got their flaws, but Angie was always like her presence at face value was always awesome. Like she was always unbelievably helpful. And it just life is what it is, and
Yep.
we've talked about that a lot, and this was kind of I do want to talk about these things. I want it to be an open kind of conversation. It might not be the most riveting, and it might not be the funniest. You might not get a big laugh, but like I want people to kind of understand like the Wicked Nemesis that is the Wicked Nemesis now is kind of like is exactly who he is, and this is kind of I mean this isn't kind of why, this is why. I mean if he would love to talk. I mean I know you tried with the Wrestle South, but I still think you've got more to offer the business because you are a very whenever it comes wrestling wise and even culture wise, you're very smart, you're very intellectual, but you know I hate to see it like the way it is now, but you know it's just a chapter. I always tell you, man, it's just a chapter. This
Oh
chapter
yeah,
is
you tell
gonna.
me that like once a week. So like
I,
people try to get in touch with me. I'm very standoffish these days, but it's just because depending on the day, depending on the mood, like
yeah,
I just when somebody is so much of you, and
yeah,
then to have that, to not have it for so long, because we have kids from other
yeah,
people, and for us getting together and to lose that, just nah.
yeah. I get it, man. It's one of those things where like I would love to be like this person, like, dude, you can fight through this, but like, you know, if you're happy, what are you fighting?
I'm not.
Like,
I'm not
if
happy.
you're
I'm not happy.
well, if
I'm
you're
content.
content, okay, and
Yes,
and
I'm
I and I hope
content.
your contentness finds happiness throughout, like with your time with the little things, with like time with your kids, which I know it does. But your ambition has seemed to which is fine, man. We've talked personally enough to where I know like that I think that like I'm happy with where you are. It's like a lot of guys in this business who kind of like pseudo retire and then come back and say, I'm not going to retire. Y'all can all kiss it. I'm going to do 365 days and be on every, like, I don't think that's you. And I don't think that's who you claim to be. And I'm happy for you.
And what I'm content with, especially in wrestling, is the fact that like you're out there doing stuff. Scott's out there. Mako's out there doing it. Alex hits me up about once a month. Ben Buchanan hits me up about once a month. Bull still hits me up. Those guys, Bishop. I talk to Bishop almost every day. But just to see my influence go out there means that I still am out there. Just
Yeah, and you've been successful. Nobody can say you haven't been successful. Like, success is however you measure it. And as far as I'm concerned, you helped me with something that no one ever thought I'd have, which is a gimmick. Like, I mean, like, just to be honest, I mean, sure, the
we've
gimmick
been
is
through several.
exactly. Yeah, we've tried, and I've thrown a lot of stuff against the wall. Most of the time, it's just not. It doesn't have the right energy, and hopefully, I've found the right energy. The right energy thing seems to be working. So,
But this is you. Literally, what you put out in wrestling is not what you are back. This is you. The Positively Zanders is really you. That's you in real life. Yeah, this is just an extension of you, which I like, which I think is some of the best gimmicks out there. Like me, like Jeremy Arnold, Wicked
yeah.
Nemesis. Like there's the faces of it, and it's all an
Well,
extension of me.
Well, unfortunately, and hopefully, we're going to have more of you on the podcast because I mean, I've enjoyed this conversation, and this is not as intense, and it's been I've had fun. So maybe we'll be seeing you more on the podcast. We'll be able to get you on a couple of the Cheap Heat TV things. Gene's going to be really mad at me for not doing these follow us social media nonsense, and I do apologize, Gene, so much because I'm trying. Okay, it's just we're getting a lot in. Okay.
Hey,
So,
we plug the YouTube because that's exactly what I'm going to share. My kids are going to watch this. My friends are going to watch this. People outside of wrestling. You know me. I've always been that guy. I will walk up to somebody like, buy this ticket or I'll break your arm. And I'll literally be like, hey, everybody, check this out.
Not the best attitude, but it is positive. That is an upbeat method of trying to sell, pro wrestling is a thing. But man, it's been a pleasure as always with you tonight, Wicked. Hopefully we'll be doing this again. This will be out Friday. So hit up
Charles,
hit up Wicked. Hey buddy, I love you too. I'm gonna go ahead and get you off here. Y'all hit up Wicked even though he doesn't want to be bothered. So everybody say bye to Wicked. Y'all have a good evening, buddy. All right. Wow. That was fun. I actually had fun with that. I'm sure a lot of this is probably going to get cut out toward the end, but we'll play with it. We're going to play with this with editing with Smokey. Had a blast. But real quick, I'm going to do y'all are going to still get one. This is crazy. I know we don't have imaging for it yet, but we're working on this slow but surely. I'm going to give you a positive quote. I'm going to give you a positive quote for this evening. And it's going to be pretty relatable to this month. I'm not going to say how. I'm just going to say it is. So the quote is, try to be a rainbow in someone else's cloud. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Be a rainbow in someone else's cloud. Be a bright spot. Let's try to be more positive. Let's be more upbeat. Let's join the Zand brand. Join the Zand fam. We'll be back Sunday talking to Scott Hemsley, and I'll see y'all then.